One of the most common questions that our genetic counselors receive from families is why their child needs a genetic test when they already have a diagnosis. Their child may have a diagnosis of developmental delay or autism spectrum disorder, so it can be confusing to families why another diagnosis is needed. And what I tend to tell parents is that we're looking for much more than a description of what's going on with the child. That's really what developmental delay or autism spectrum disorder is, a description. Developmental delay means that a child is not on the same level as his or her same-aged peers. Maybe they're behind in gross motor milestones like walking, talking. Maybe they're behind in their level of schoolwork. They're not doing grade level work. With autism spectrum disorder, a child isn't interacting with his or her environment in a way that we might expect. They have a lack of imaginative play. They have difficulties socializing and communicating with their speech. Those are just descriptions, and they can be very important. They are very important, and they help families get access to certain services, but they tell us nothing about the cause. Why does this child have developmental delay? Why does this child have autism spectrum disorder? So a genetic test can really add a new level of information if a family's child has a diagnosis of developmental delay or autism spectrum disorder. I've often heard parents say, my child has developmental delay, and I talk with other moms of kids with the same thing, and all of us seem to be in different places. Our children have different needs. What works for my child doesn't work for my friend's child, or vice versa. And part of the reason why these children are so different is because they're different, and some of them may have a certain genetic condition while the other children have a different genetic condition. So it's important to get to the root cause of why the developmental delay is there in the first place. And by having that deeper answer, we can really provide that family and his or her physician with a roadmap. What is the prognosis for this genetic condition? What is the prognosis for Angelman syndrome? That's very different than the prognosis for Williams syndrome, but both of these children have developmental delay. So if a family knows which one their child has, or maybe it's something different than that, they can learn about the very unique capabilities of their child, strengths their child may have, interests their child may have, and also where they're more likely to have weaknesses and where they're more likely to have developmental disabilities in a physical sense. What can we do for them medically? So it's very important to pinpoint the cause of someone's developmental delay or autism spectrum disorder.